Hey, what's up all of you beautiful subscribers? Welcome back to the Chapple Show, where we talk about business, stock market, and some tech news. Now, we got some giant stories today. We're going to talk about Twitter, Microsoft, some breaking news with that happened just a few minutes ago, Walmart, some macroeconomic real estate news, General Electric, Saudi Arabia, and there's just a bunch of stuff, luxury homes, billionaire stuff, a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today. But the first thing I want to lead off with is actually not business news. It's just something that's kind of, curious, is the JFK assassination records are being released today by Donald Trump. So they're going to be released probably in a few hours. They're not out as of this very second. But, so, what do I expect from this? What should you expect from this? Well, these records have been kept for about 50 years. There's been a bunch of conspiracy theories around the assassination of JFK. What do I think is going to happen? I think that we're not going to really learn anything at all from the assassination, because that's what I think. I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy. What do I think conspiracy theorists are going to do? Well, there's going to be one of two things that happens with them. One of which is if the documents get released and there's something that they like, they're going to latch onto it and be like, yes, I've been right this entire time. The government is terrible and they lie to us all the time and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right? And then there's the other option where the government releases all these records and they find nothing, and the conspiracy theorists are like, well, the government just released some fake documents to throw us off, to try and lead us away from the actual truth. We have to dig deeper this time. So those are the two kind of scenarios that I see for conspiracy theorists. So anyways, JFK assassination records being released later on. Feel free to check those out. Google them later if you wish. Okay, so let's move on to the business news. Let's talk about Twitter. Let's talk about Twitter. Why not talk about Twitter? Because Twitter had a really big day where the stock was up 18% today. Why is this? Well, if you were to look, they released their earnings reports, so They weren't too good in terms of numbers. I mean, their revenue was up the revenue's $590 million versus an expected $586 million. So they beat that by what, a percentage point or so. Their earnings per share was essentially double, though, what the estimate was, which was really, really big, which kind of led to this giant 18% jump in the stock today. Now, their monthly active users actually went down. So why is this? I'll get to that in a second here. So this doesn't look too glamorous. I guess the earnings per share really jumps out. So why did the stock jump 18%? It's because the company is really, for the first time ever in its history, focusing purely on profitability. And so their revenue is growing, so that's a good sign. And they cut costs a lot, and they're focusing on pursuing other revenue streams because they're starting to realize, look, Twitter ads is probably the third or fourth best ad platform out there, maybe even a fifth. All right, so you have Google much better, Facebook and Instagram much better. Snapchat might be around the same as Twitter. So Twitter is still behind in terms of targeting ads and having the best ad platform. So they're really realizing we got to go some other revenue streams here. So we got to do what we've been doing like last year, what we started. So Twitter streams like NFL games and puts ads on those, and they bought, you can watch them on Twitter and Periscope and all that. And so they're going to be pursuing some other revenue streams apart from just Twitter ads, which is a good idea. Plus, they're going to be, like I said before, cutting costs a lot. So they're going to focus a lot on profitability and focus on growing up as a company. So they reached that point, and that's why the stock jumped 18% today. It's because they essentially just announced they want to be a big boy now. They do not want to rely on funding from outside sources. They want to actually be a real profitable company for the first time. So that's why the stock jumped today. Now, why are there monthly active users? Why did that go down? It's because they actually, in their last report, they actually messed up and they used 2 third-party services and counted an extra 2 million users as Twitter users, but they were just a third party using Twitter. So I'm guessing like it was one of those sites like some of those sites that you're allowed to post on all of your social media accounts at the same time kind of deal. Something around those lines, like not Hootsuite. Maybe it's Hootsuite or something like that. Maybe they counted a bunch of Hootsuite accounts or something like that. I don't really know. They might be lying for all I know to cover up the lack of user growth. Who really knows at the end of the day? But even if it was an extra million users, I mean, relatively the amount of users stayed the same. So that's some Twitter news. Now, some more Twitter news is that they're banning Russia today from using Twitter ads. And are they banning from Twitter, like their account? Twitter said it will no longer sell ads, okay, to Russia Today or Sputnik, which is, I guess, Sputnik's the Russian satellite. So I'm guessing that's also a Russian Russian media company of some sort. So they also announced that today too. So what do you think of that? Twitter's been really cracking down on that kind of stuff recently, because I guess Facebook has kind of too. And I don't know. I really find it improbable that, you know, spending $1 million on Twitter ads is going to affect the entire outcome of an election. That was that, you know, much of a landslide, but you know, that's just my opinion. So let's move. Although there was that kind of that funny thing where there was that Russian group. Okay, I don't know if this is fully true, but this is what I heard. There was a Russian troll farm or something like that they were making Twitter accounts and growing their Twitter accounts, except they weren't saying that they were Russian or that they were themselves. They were posing as Black Lives Matter groups or something like that and trying to get people mad at them or something around those lines. So trying to grow the conservative or Republican base in the United States by angering them, I guess, in a sense. There's some weird story like that. You guys can look it up yourself. This isn't a political show, so I don't want to focus too much on that. Okay, let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about. This is breaking news. So this happened 3 minutes ago. It got updated. Microsoft, or I guess it was a little bit more, so probably about 10 minutes ago. Microsoft earnings, 84 cents a share. That's what they were versus 72 cents a share. So that's pretty darn big. And they announced that their $20 billion revenue run rate for commercial cloud, they might hit that goal. So they might hit $20 billion in cloud revenue this quarter, which is, I mean, that's just insane to think about here. Again, Microsoft, a solid company. By the way, I love the Microsoft dividends. They're one of the big tech companies that actually do pay a good dividend. And I know Apple pays a small one, but Microsoft's is like 3-point-something%. Let me take a look at it, actually. Microsoft stock here. I think it's somewhere around 3.6%. 2.1. Oh, never mind that. Oh, maybe they cut their dividend or something. Because I remember it being higher for some reason. I guess not. But again, this is why I like Google. You can fact check yourself on the spot, right? So again, Microsoft had oh yeah, by the way, I guess that their stock probably jumped up. So the stock's up a little bit today. Actually, I guess technically it's after hours, right? We just hit after hours. So their stock's up about 2% since the announcement, and it's still rising, 1.5% since the announcement. So it's going to go higher. I didn't even realize it was past 4 o'clock. Jeez, I need to really get going on this. So anyways, that's the big Microsoft breaking news. What do you think of Microsoft as a company as a whole? Now, see, Microsoft is one of those tech companies which has made a really good pivot, because, like, look, they gave their shots at, you know, like phones and Windows Phone. That didn't work out. And, you know, remember those like pads that used to write notes down and stuff on? I don't know what that was called. But now they went right into cloud services, and they're probably, what, are they the biggest player in cloud services? Because they own 15% of the market. And I remember looking at this yesterday, and Google owns 6%, somewhere around there. But so they made a big transition. I mean, they're not just a computer company. They're not just a software company. Google just announced their earnings. Wow, this is some breaking news here too. So Microsoft's made good pivots with their company. And that's why they've been able to be so successful. Now, what's their market cap? $500 billion, $600 billion market cap. So that's why they're one of the biggest companies in the world. They've made giant pivots and have been able to survive as a tech company instead of dying off like most tech companies do. Okay, breaking news here. Let's click on it. Let's click on this. Google. No, hopefully this video doesn't play. Shut up. I hate when they autoplay this. Okay. Google parent Alphabet sees shares pop more than 4% after earnings beat. Wow. Okay, so 4%. So this might put that, what's going to be their market cap now? 4% bump. We're talking they're going to be a $700 billion company in a few hours. Wow. If this continues, that's amazing. So we're going to have another $700 billion company in North America, or in the United States, I guess. You know what? Let's look at this, actually. What's the most valuable Canadian company? I'm really curious, actually, because I'm obviously from Canada. Is it our banks? Is it actually our banks? It's our banks. Okay. Well, that's very anticlimactic. Canada's most valuable brands, I guess. You know what? I need to change this. I need to be on this list somewhere, because we have Shopify, right? I mean, Shopify is a pretty decent company, but I mean, they're not even cracking the top 50. So Anyways, let's get back to this business news stuff. So Alphabet, they crushed their earnings. So wow, they beat earnings by $1.30-ish, $1.24 a share. So they had an expected earnings per share of $8.33, and they had an actual earnings per share of $9.57. So they had a pretty good earnings report here. The revenue was up. Wow. They beat revenue expectations by $570 million. Wow. Wow, this is impressive by Google here. I've talked about this. They have had some of the best profits and revenue growth and profit growth year over year over year over 2 decades. They're one of the proven tech companies out there that continues to grow and innovate somehow. Really, really cool. Let's see, 25%. So their shares have gone up 25% this year. So they've done pretty well. So that's some breaking news there. I wasn't planning on talking about that. Let's move on here. My voice is getting tired already. Wow. Okay. Let's move on to Walmart. This is a really interesting story here about what this could mean for the future. So Walmart will soon have robots roaming the aisles in 50 stores. And this is really intriguing. So when I saw this article, I thought, oh, what are they going to do? Have some sort of robot like stock the shelves or something? No, they're not going to do that. That might be something in the future. What they're actually doing is they're having these robots. They essentially go down each aisle and scan the entire aisle as they go down it, and they look for if anything's out of place. They look for if anything's out of stock, and then if something is out of place or out of stock, they go tell the human at the front, go stock it, go fix this, go fix that. They tell them where the errors are, and it's cool. So apparently, Walmart said that this will make this 50% more efficient than humans. This restocking and putting stuff back to where it's supposed to be, 50% more efficient. So, but here's what I view it as: this is a step towards Walmart becoming something like maybe potentially a warehouse company. Maybe a little bit more like, what's actually really funny is that I thought of this yesterday too, and I didn't talk about it. About how what would be really cool is if what could make Walmart very profitable is if they turned their Walmart store into like an Amazon warehouse, and people could shop in it. And so, if you're checking stuff out and you buy something, you take it off the shelf, it goes off of the Walmart website, and the quantity goes down by 1. So if it was on, what if Amazon wanted to do that too? Amazon's going to be doing that with Whole Foods potentially. They want to sell food online or something like that. If you get some, but actually I don't think it's going to work like that. Food is a little bit different actually. But I just had that idea, like what if you had a warehouse that you could also ship stuff online from, but also buy stuff in person? I know that there's probably tons of those around, but I don't know. It's something I thought of, and I think Walmart's going to take another step towards that. So what do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of these giant robot scanner things here kind of replacing jobs of employees? People don't realize that, some of the biggest Amazon warehouses are mostly robots. Robots do a lot of the work. Now, some of them don't have any robots, but some of them do have a lot of robots. And this is kind of the way that we're going. That's what you have to do to be profitable in the long term. You got to have robots that do stuff that a human can do, except more efficient and obviously more of an upfront cost, but less of a long-term wage cost. Because, think about that. If you buy a robot for, I don't know what these robots are going to cost, 100 grand or something, right? If you buy these robots for 100 grand, maybe 50 grand, maybe less than that, but we'll say 100 versus paying a Walmart employee or 2 Walmart employees that it's replacing a total of $60,000. If you keep this thing for a year and a half or almost 2 years, it's worth it. And that's what companies are going to have to do in the long run. And a lot of companies are willing to do that. Pay some a lot up front and have it be worth it in the long run. So let's move on to Uber. This is another cool Uber story. So Uber yesterday announced the credit card stuff. I talked about that. Why am I getting a call from... I'm getting a call from a SSL Renewals. Okay, there's... I typed my... Oh, God damn it, Jack. Why'd I type that in? They found my information. Screw them. Everything's fine. So Uber will now let you add multiple stops to your route. So you are able to stop at, 3 stops or something like that. So for a total of 3 minutes per stop. And so what this means is that now if you, instead of you just going from your house to, you know, your friend's house or something. Now you can go from your house to the corner store to maybe you want to go to the post office and then back to your house. As long as each one of those stops is less than 3 minutes, then you're going to be fine. If it's more than 3 minutes, you'll get charged for it, and you can do that as well. So now it's kind of like a chauffeur service that's a lot cheaper than a chauffeur service. So what do you guys think about that? That's a really cool idea. Why did these people call me, by the way? They left a voicemail. Your thing is gonna, you know, maybe we should play this out loud. Maybe I won't, just in case they reveal anything personal. We'll see. Okay, so maybe I should. I don't know. Let's move on here. What do you think of this Uber thing, though? Let me know in the comments down below, because it's kind of cool. I don't use Uber. I have my own car, but I could definitely see people using this more. Okay, let's move on to this Tesla news. Tesla, we've been talking about how they fired people out of the blue for reasons that they wouldn't explain. I think it was for cutting costs, but there was this labor board came out here. The United Automobile Workers came out and filed a federal labor complaint that they fired these people because they were pro-union and they were trying to unionize everyone, and he just fired everyone. This is all allegedly, by the way, because, you know, it's funny. I joked about this. I joked about how if I started a company, my worst nightmare would be if my workers would unionize. You know, I'm going to treat them as well as possible. I'm not going to have them work in sweatshops or anything like that ever. Obviously, I'm not going to be one of those people. You know, but at the end of the day, if people, why I don't like unions, now a lot of them are good. A lot of them do protect workers from, you know, being in sweatshop-like conditions. I understand that. And there's the other side of it, which we see here in Southern Ontario a lot, like the teachers union, how their, you know, adjusted salary adjusted based on the amount of hours they put in, they make about 110 grand a year adjusted. So for all the time they get off months a year, and every single year they seem to add a few extra vacation or PA days, maybe one or two of them, and they go on strike every 2 years, and they just want more and more and more in time off and more money. And that's what I don't like, is that, you know, it's never, when unions form, a lot of the times it's just never good enough. And the fact that your entire company could shut down just because they don't like how much they're getting paid, even if it's a good amount, I mean, that's really scary for a business owner. And but again, the other side is, you know, what if you're an entrepreneur and you're treating your employees like crap? I mean, a union, if everyone goes on strike at the same time and files a complaint, maybe things change, you get better working conditions, and it's a better life for everyone that's working there. So I see both sides to that story here. It's just kind of funny how this actually allegedly is happening to Tesla right now, just firing people that are pro-union. This is all allegedly. Now, the spokesperson came out and said, no one at Tesla has ever or will have any action taken against them based on their feelings of unionization. So, you know, I don't know the truth about that. So, I mean, Walmart says that, right? But the Walmart also shows their employees, like, these are this is why unions don't work. Breaking news, Mattel drops 24% as Toys R Us bankruptcy eats into sales. Mattel. All right, we got to check. This is a lot of breaking news after hours. I wasn't expecting this flurry here. I was expecting this to be a short video. Man, they got really smashed. Oh my God, Mattel. So they're really hurting right now. Down 67% over the past 5 years. Hopefully they recover. I always cheer for companies. Anyways, that was a big news story. Okay, General Electric. This is, you know, we're running out of time here. I'll pass by this quick. General Electric, they are selling off divisions of their company. And so, you know, why is this a big story? It's because those companies are worth billions of dollars. I mean, think about this. Their companies their subdivisions that they are selling off are worth more than they're worth as much as Tesla combined. They're selling off, you know, tens of billions of dollars worth of assets from their tech healthcare information company or whatever it is. They're selling off some of their railroad stuff. I mean, they're trying to diversify and you know, trying to restructure the company to become more profitable in the long run. And that was just some big news. So let's take a look at their stock here. Stock's down 0.86%. It's obviously been one of the big losers this year. I've talked about that a lot, down 33% this year. But I mean, they're a proven company. They've been around a really, really, really long time, so I'm sure that they'll be fine. Anyways, we're going to move on to Saudi Arabia. They have granted citizenship to a humanoid robot. this is just a little bit scary to me, because I'm usually robots are not going to enslave the human race unless we let them. And this seems like, oh, wait a second, people are actually legitimately like letting robots become humans, which is kind of a little bit scary. So Elon Musk tweeted, "Just feed it the Godfather movies as input. What's the worst that could happen?" Anyways, so Saudi Arabia, what do you guys think of this? I mean, this robot can talk. I think there's a clip here.
Was told the people here at Future Investment Initiative are interested in inviting in future initiatives, which means AI, which means me.
All right, so that voice is kind of scary, how close it's getting to being an actual human voice. Obviously, the lips aren't synced up, and it doesn't look like a human. It looks really weird and stuff, obviously, all that. But the fact that this thing it's getting closer, man. It's getting closer. This thing, if you're, like, just listen to it again. Listen to it.
Future initiatives, which means AI, which means me. So I'm more than happy. I'm excited.
All right, so obviously it still sounds a little bit like a robot, but it's getting closer versus 5 years ago. I was gonna say You Got Mail. That really dates me. If you don't know the You Got Mail reference, I mean, you're obviously below the age of 18. You got mail, and it's like, oh, every time you booted up the internet, that was terrible. Okay, let's move on. Nike is just getting really fed up with retailers. No crap. Obviously, they're really fed up, and they're saying, like, look, we're going to they talked about this yesterday. We're going to diversify our strategy. We're going to go away from retailers. We're going to try and grow in developing countries too. And we're going to sell online more. And that was just that news story. I want to just get through this quick. This video's gone on too long because of the breaking news stuff. Luxury homes. That's right. Luxury homes prices are up 5% this year. They're on average 1.71 million. Is that in the United States? All of the United States? That would be really... Okay, well, that's weird. The number of multi-million-dollar listings is suddenly dropping, and so that's making prices go way, way, way up. And that's bad news. All home prices are going up. Now, let's take a look here. I looked at Zillow, and so what's been the median listing price in the United States over the past 5 years? So in 2013, the median listing price was $180,000, and as of today, it is $259,000. So it has actually doubled. It's doubled in the past 5 years in terms of not doubled. My math. Gone up $80,000. Is it $80,000? Did I just... Yeah, okay, $80,000. So it's gone up $80,000. That's still, what, 40%, 50%? Oh, my God, my math is just so bad right now. It's gone up like 40%, something around there. Who cares? What this means is that, why I'm kind of looking at this as well, we see these trends when the real estate cycle goes to an end. I mean, the real estate cycle, there's obviously these micro cycles that happen every year because real estate is very seasonal. But real estate prices are cyclical, and usually, when real estate prices hit an all-time high and there's an all-time low amount of houses for sale in the market, usually there's some sort of real estate correction where prices drop and everyone's selling because they can't afford it anymore, and then we restart from there. So I'm just warning you guys, we're getting closer to the end here. We're getting closer to the economic cycle end and the real estate cycle end. Okay, billionaires, they're passing on $2.4 trillion to their kids. What do you guys think of this? Because we have a lot of those initiatives out there, like how Mark Zuckerberg's planning on giving away $50 billion or half of his net worth. Warren Buffett wants to give away 99% of his net worth. They haven't, which is really, really interesting to me. Unless it's in their will, it's not going to happen. Warren Buffett's getting really up there in age. And he wants to donate a lot of the money, and same with Bill Gates, getting up there in age. They don't have a lot of time left to donate 99% of their net worth away to people that are lower class, I guess, or to social programs, or to cure polio, that's so weird that you just put $1 billion or $2 towards eradicating a virus in Africa, and it gets eradicated. How weird is that? Okay. So anyways, the amount of billionaires is going up. There's one billionaire being created every 3 days or something. And what do you guys think about giving money to kids? That's why I wanted to talk about this. If you were to have kids one day, if you were to be worth, let's say, over $50 million, you're worth, a good chunk of change that, if you were to give that money to your kids, they could live their dream life without even having to work. You're leaving your $50 million to your kids. What do you think of that? Do you think, here's what I want to do, is that, if I reach a net worth of $100 million by the time I pass on, and I have a few kids, I would probably leave them, I'd probably leave them like $1 million each. And the rest of it, honestly, probably just give away or I don't know how I would give it away. I'd put it somewhere so that it would be spread out. Maybe it goes, I don't want to give to the government, but get spread out. Maybe I buy a library, put it towards a library for this, I don't know, some local poor district, or put it towards housing for homeless people, right? I think that's what I would kind of do. I would give, a few $1 million to, a kid, $1 million to the other kid, a few million to, other family members, but the most of it's probably going to go to just people less fortunate. Because here's what I think about that, is that I don't want my kids, I'm one of those people where I don't want my kids to ever be spoiled. I don't want my kids to ever be spoiled. For me, or it's not even that. I think that if you bring them up properly, you can't really spoil them too much, because my parents, I always talk about this, I had some of the best parents in the world. Where I was brought up, when I was born, up until I was 9 years old, we were pretty ballin'. Their collective income, they were in the 1% as a family. But the thing is that, like, they brought us up in a way where we didn't really like material things that much. We would get allowances, and we would, like $20 a month or $50 a month sometimes if we, did the dishes and all that stuff when we were little kids, which is obviously something that, lower class families that can't happen. You're supposed to do that stuff anyways without getting allowances. And I understand that. But my parents, they were really good at, making sure that we had all of our needs, taken care of, food and shelter and all that. But they also made it so that, like, we don't idolize material things as much as other people. What's kind of funny is I learned that when I started dating people, and how, a lot of people will spend their money on material things. And, what's kind of funny is I just moved in here into this kitchen, essentially Silicon Valley north of Canada. And, I had one car load full of stuff to move into this fairly big townhouse. And that's all I needed. Yet, my girlfriend, for example, she needed, 4 truckloads of stuff, pickup trucks, several trips, and took, an entire day. For me, it took, 30 minutes to unpack everything. I travel light. I don't really value material stuff too much. And I attribute that to my parents. My sister, she's kind of the same way. She doesn't, apart from clothes, because she is a girl, she doesn't value accessories that much, or purses or anything like that, or shoes. She's fairly frugal too. Same with my brother. We don't really value material things. We value long-term items like computers, sure. Like this desk I bought, like a drone, something expensive that you buy once in a very long time after years and years and years. But we don't value little things. We don't make impulse buys. And I think that's something that's really important to just put into your kids. Make sure that they have everything that they need, but make sure that they also don't value stuff that they don't need, in a way. That's a really weird quote. Okay, you know what? I've been talking about this too long here. Anyways, we're going to wrap this video up. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out my stock market program or Wealth Accelerator if you're interested in starting your stock market account. You want to learn how to set it up, what it takes, want to learn how to start a small business. You get all that stuff with the Wealth Accelerator and the stock market program. So check those out. For now, should I give you guys an update on the website? I had a massive coding breakthrough today. You know what? I'm going to save that for another video. My voice is really tired. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. You're all very beautiful people, and I'll see you guys in the next video.